Hello, everybody. This is Beth Worsdell, author here. It is the Witty Writers show, and I'm so excited because I'm with Valerie Keogh.
Yay!
I nailed it, Valerie.
You nailed it, Beth. Well done.
I was a little bit nervous right then, I've got to tell you. Now, Valerie, I am so stoked that you're actually joining me today because I'm a bit of a addict when it comes to thrillers and crime and psychology and all that sort of stuff. I am all over CIS programs, crime programs, you name it, anything to do with hunting and finding killers. I'm your girl.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to see you, darling. Firstly, you have a good Christmas.
I had a lovely Christmas. Now, we were supposed to go away to a hotel for 3 nights over Christmas. Posh hotel. I was treating myself and my husband. And on the 2 days before Christmas, the hotel rang to say they were closing for COVID.
Oh.
So I had to rush out and buy lots and lots of food. And I'm not a very good cook. And our Christmas dinner was a bit of a disaster.
Oh, no.
Luckily, Robert, my husband, he eats anything. So he was happy enough. But no, we had a lovely time. And, really, there's so much uncertainty at the moment with everything that when the hotel rang to cancel, I wasn't terribly surprised.
Yeah.
And, if that is the worst that happens to us, we're okay. So,
Absolutely.
And I had enough time to get food in, so it was grand.
No.
But I'm never, ever cooking Christmas dinner again. Ever, ever.
It sounds like Robert's like my husband, because my husband did not marry me for my cooking whatsoever.
Or mine.
It's a miracle I've kept him alive for 30 years, but there we go.
Yeah, I know. Lots of packets. I think the problem was Christmas Day. I tried to do something posh. And I got this recipe from Robert Gets the Financial Times, and there was a recipe in it, and it said, if you're not going away, it's posh hotel food.
Oh.
So I decided to cook this, and it took me ages. I was chopping and dicing and chopping, and it was crap. I mean, really wasn't very nice.
You're fine. Crap is allowed.
And the meat was overdone, the vegetables were underdone, and the stuffing was bleh.
Your talents lie elsewhere, obviously, Valerie, just like myself. Well, we've already got some viewers, and somebody is saying hello. Your cousin Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, Joe.
I hope Joe had a lovely Christmas as well. It's been a crazy year, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Now, so our viewers obviously get to know you a little bit better. You're not just a writer, are you? You're actually a nurse as well.
No, now I am just a writer. I was a nurse, and I nursed for, about 40 years. But when I got my first, I had been self-published for a number of years. And then in 2018, I got a publishing contract with Bookouture. And on the basis of that, I decided I'm going to go for it. So I actually gave up nursing.
It's fantastic.
It was difficult because I've been a nurse for so long, and I actually do miss it a little bit, but I love writing, and it enabled me to write a lot more.
Yeah.
So, I have no regrets. I like what I do. So it's fine. So, yeah. So now I can actually call myself a full-time writer, which is quite fun.
That's absolutely fantastic. Now, obviously, a lot of our viewers are authors themselves, from all genres and different levels in their career. Most of us, juggle jobs and trying to be a full-time writer at the same time. I mean, it's a massive decision, isn't it? Because you've got full-time money coming in and possibility of career. How tough a decision was that for you?
it was kind of tough. I mean, I'd been nursing for a long, long time, but I was going through a difficult time in my nursing job. So that made the decision easier. Now, regardless of getting a contract as a writer, there are no guarantees. So, in fact, my first contract with Bookouture only lasted 2 books, and I didn't have contract renewed with them. Now, I could have gone back to nursing because my registration was still valid until the following year. So I could have gone back at any stage. Yeah. But as it turned out, a few weeks after my contract with Bookouture was up, I signed a contract with Bloodhound Books. And that's been much better for me. In fact, I think I'm on my 3rd, if not my 4th contract with Bloodhound. And they took on my series that I had self-published, and that came on stream very quickly as a result. So money came in then relatively easily, and I still have 4 self-published books on Amazon. So I get a monthly income from them, and then I get monthly income from both Bookouture and Bloodhound. Now it does get less as the years go on, unless you're bringing out new books all the time. But I've been very lucky. I can write quite quickly, which is what e-publishers like Bloodhound and Bookouture like. So I can turn around a book in about 3 months, 3-4 months. So last year I had Bloodhound took on my 4 Irish crime series, and then I did 2 more. One came out in November and one is coming out next April. But this year I also had 3 psychological thrillers out. One came out in February, July, and September. So yeah, I've done really well. I'm very happy with Bloodhound. They've been a great publisher. They suit me really well. So yeah, and I really enjoy writing full time. I write every day, all day.
Yeah.
So I think I took Christmas. Did I take Christmas Day off? I was going to take Christmas Day off had I been going away, but if I didn't go away, so I didn't take Christmas Day off. So.
That's fantastic. Now, what do you think has been the major benefits between, like the pros and cons between self-publishing and going through a publisher? Because obviously, you know, a lot of our viewers who aren't writers obviously don't really understand the difference. And obviously some of our writers who are at the early stages are and ahhing between, do I self-publish? Do I go through a publisher? What would you say the pros and cons for you?
It's very difficult. I mean, to be honest with you, when I finished my first book, you know, I was very naive when I started writing. That's about 12 years ago. And I finished my first book and I thought they'd all come running to buy it. You know, when you think you've done it all when you've written the book, but in fact, that's only a very first step. And I did try to get an agent for, several months. And at that stage, there were very few e-publishers on the market. In fact, there were none. So my sister Patricia sent me an article about somebody who'd successfully self-published with Amazon Kindle. And I thought, I can do that. So I did. So, and that was my kind of introduction into self-publishing. And I self-published 9 books in total before I got my first publishing contract. But I didn't make enough money to give up nursing. And the big difference for me when I got my first contract is financially.
Yes.
My income, both in my self-published novels, the sales grew, and of course, my income from the publisher. So that enabled me to chuck my day job. And I get a very good income from my books. I mean, people say that writers don't make much money. I do quite well. But having said that, now there are some self-published writers, for instance, Mel Comley.
Yes.
Great income, self-publishing. But I think you have to be cannier with the marketing aspect than I am. I'm not very good at marketing. I find it a chore. I just want to write, you know. But I do the social networking thing. I do try to get the Instagram and the Facebook, and going on shows like this is great, but I find it hard work. I'm not naturally a good marketer. And I think to be a successful self-published writer, you have to be very good at that.
I think you have to be a salesperson.
You have to be a salesperson, yeah. I just want to write. So,
as a self-published author myself, you literally have to sell yourself and you. And first, it's all about first impressions from a post that somebody sees for the first time on Instagram or whatever. It's all about being a salesperson. And I do think a lot of authors struggle with that, especially because they don't want to blow their own trumpet and say, read my book, it's fantastic. And they struggle with that. And I do understand that completely.
It's hard. I mean, without a doubt, you have to do it. I mean, although I have a publisher behind me now, I'm expected to do a certain amount. I mean, you have to get yourself out there and get your name known to a certain extent so that people see your name and say, oh yeah, I know, I've heard of her. She's brilliant, so so.
It's tough. But just an FYI for our viewers and everybody, if you are an author and you do a lot of your own marketing, it's the funniest posts that actually get the most likes and shares. And I've been experimenting with this recently, Valerie, and I posted this very, very funny sci-fi themed meme, and it's hit over 3,000 people.
Wow.
Because it's funny. It's funny. Yeah. People relate to it. It connects with a movie theme, which is very popular, which is Aliens. So it ticked all the right boxes, and it's still being shared. So just FYI for everybody, never post anything negative, ever.
No, I agree, yeah.
For one, it gives people a bad feeling. It also activates algorithms in a negative way on social media. It's not going to get shared as much. But the more positive interaction a post or something you share gets, the more viral it will go. So positivity, funny stuff, anything that gives people that feel good feeling, basically.
Yeah, I tried to get my cat to help. I've got this big fat black cat called Fatty Arbuckle. Now, I have tried to train him to be part of my marketing thing, but he's not interested. Occasionally, I have learned the trick. I put little sweetie treats under my books. People would climb on them, and I'd have to take a photograph really fast, then photograph him, my books. So, but otherwise, he is not interested. He's just so bored with it all. So, yeah.
It's funny. The Arbuckle. I mean, only British and Irish people will know what that means. What their name comes from.
Well, it's actually quite funny because he wasn't our cat. We had a ginger cat called Manx. We only had the one cat, and Fatty Arbuckle used to come into our conservatory through the cat flap and eat our cat's food. So I was constantly telling Robert to chase that fat cat away. But then the fat cat decided he was staying. So he was always referred to as the fat cat. So when he stayed, we couldn't really call him the fat cat. So he ended up being Fatty. And then we didn't want to call him just Fatty. So we ended up being Fatty Arbuckle. So
I absolutely love it. I think this is fantastic. As soon as I read that just put an instant smile on my face. I've got to tell you. We got some more people that joined us, Valerie. We've got Leslie, who's a fellow author. She says, hi, Beth and Valerie.
Hi.
I hope she's had a good Christmas too. We've also got Nancy. Hi, Nancy.
Hi,
Nancy says, glad I logged on. I enjoy psychological thrillers. You might have a new reader there.
I enjoy writing them.
Nancy is a true bookaholic. I can tell you that for nothing. She is a real bookworm. She says we need funny these days. I absolutely agree.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree. Bonetta has also joined us. Hi, Bonetta.
Hi.
She says, good evening to you, beautiful queens. Happy holidays. Bless you both greatly. Thank you, darling. She is such a sweetheart. She really is. Now, Leslie says, I am 2/3 finished drafting a psychological psychic thriller. Gaslight meets the Diviners. Oh, that sounds interesting. The hardest part is making the readers trust the villain too, while leaving a few breadcrumbs as clues. How do you do that, Valerie?
Oh, I don't know. It's very difficult writing psychological thrillers because you're expected from the reader to put these twists in, and sometimes it's very difficult to know how to do it. I tend to just write the story in my head and hope it comes out right. And so far I've been lucky it has. Now, one of my books, I'm trying to think which one it is at the minute. One of my books, The Perfect Life, actually, there was criticism by some readers who said that, oh, the bad guy just appeared from nowhere at the end. Now, that's not actually true. I did actually mention him a few times.
Yeah.
But I didn't mention him enough for some readers.
Yeah.
It is difficult. That breadcrumbs thing is actually quite difficult to get it just right. And to be honest, I have no magic solution to how or why you do it. I just write my stories and hope that they come out right. And so far, I've been lucky, and I don't plan my books. I generally start with an idea, and I start writing. I don't plan. I know there's some people out who swear by planning chapters, and I don't. I just start writing and hope to God that the characters eventually take over and kind of write it themselves then. And I find that when I'm writing, that I get to that stage where the characters do kind of take over. So, and sometimes they go in a direction, as you know, Beth, yourself, they go in a direction you haven't actually expected. And you say, oh, yeah, that's grand, I'll go with that. And you end up somewhere that you never thought you would end when you started. And that's the way I like to write.
Yeah.
And so far it has worked for me.
To be honest with you, it's one of those things, isn't it? I think no matter what you write, you are never, ever, ever going to please everybody all of the time.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can't do it. Some people are going to get what you're writing and some people aren't. Some people are going to connect with it or not. Having said that, some of the best books I've read, some of the best movies I've seen are the ones where I couldn't see it coming.
Yeah.
The clues were there and they just didn't click until right at the end. And I'll give you a perfect example. The movie Sixth Sense.
Oh, yeah. You thought it was brilliant.
I did not see that coming.
No.
And I watched it.
I know it was so well done. And you thought, oh, yeah. I mean, I've seen it. I've watched it, times since. And yeah, it's brilliant.
It's so fantastic. The clues were there.
Yeah.
But they were so subtle.
Yeah. Very cleverly done.
Yeah. You got that shock at the end and you're like, bloody hell, he was dead. I never saw that coming. But when you see it again, you think, oh, okay.
And there was that, and there was that, and there was that. Yeah, it was very, very cleverly done. I love that movie. My husband, funny enough, didn't like it at all. So
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. But I think, some of the best books I've read are like that. And I'm sure that with some of your readers who didn't quite get those little clues, if they left it, a little while and then reread it, they would pick up on those clues because they would be more of a little bit observant. It's tricky, isn't it? As I said, you can't please everybody all of the time. Before we say hello to some more people, could we see some of your book covers? Because I'm so excited.
No. Oh. Now I write a series of books. I write a crime series based in Ireland, in Dublin, where I'm from. Didn't guess the accent. Although I live in the UK, I'm from Dublin. So this is the first one in that series. It's called No Simple Death. And all my covers have iconic Dublin views. So this is the Halfpenny Bridge in Dublin. So that's the first one. and that's the second one, and that's a view from Trinity College. So there's 5 books in that series, and they've all got, I mean, it's a series. You can read them as standalones, but I think like most series, you are better off starting first and reading through. In fact, the first one is only 99 cents, so cheap as chips.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, very cheap. And then I write psychological books as well. I've written 2 for Bookouture, Secrets Between Us and The Housewife. They came out, Secrets Between Us came out in the end of 2018, and then The Housewife came out February 2019. And then this year I've had The 3 Women, which has been very popular for me, actually.
It's the reviews have been fantastic.
It's been really good. This is one of the books that people say, I never saw that end coming.
Yeah. I love the cover.
And I really enjoyed writing that. It's quite funny because the reason I started thinking about the storyline of this is a friend of mine passed away, and I started thinking about friendship and the different types of friendship we have, and how different people, different friends see us differently. And that's where the idea from the 3 friends in this came from. Now, obviously, it's not based on a true story. My friend Adele, she wasn't like any of these women, but I really enjoyed writing this. It was quite a fun book to write. My second book, then, The Perfect Life, came out in June, and that's actually doing really well as well. And then The Deadly Truth came out in September. It's quite funny. This came out, originally it was called The Whisperer's Echo, but the title and the cover just didn't seem to gel with readers. So my publisher said we change it. So I bought about 12 of these in the original cover. So then it's changed to this. Anyway. So
they're absolutely stunning. They really, really are absolutely beautiful. Now I know I spoke to you this before we went live. Generally, I try to do a little gift for our viewers who share our interviews. And I know you very, very kindly agreed to give an ebook of one of your books to one of our viewers who shares your interview. So everybody get sharing after we've finished, and you will get a chance to win one of Valerie's fantastic ebooks. So that's super exciting. And I can't, unfortunately, I can't do it as well. So I'm going to have to buy them all.
That's right. Boost my profits from me there, Beth.
Absolutely. Right. We have got quite a few more comments and viewers. So I'm going to quickly get through and say hello to everybody. We've got a new viewer, Jim. Hi, Jim.
Hi, Jim.
He says, hi, Val. Great to see you.
Jim's a good guy.
Oh, thank you for joining, Jim. Leslie says, if no CP has a clue, then I need to put one in.
No CP. What does CP mean?
I don't know. Leslie, what does CP mean? Because that has got me lost. She's been a writer a lot longer than me. I'm still on that learning curve.
It doesn't mean one to me either.
And I'm no good with abbreviations either.
No, me either.
Leslie says, 6 cents. I knew it when the ring dropped.
Oh, yeah. It should have been a giveaway. I didn't click. No, I thought it was brilliant.
She's a smart.
I like that series.
I did not see it coming at all. Jim says, M. Night Shyamalan. Is it? Have I pronounced that right? I am the worst person at pronunciation.
Okay.
He says it's fantastic and a huge influence on his writing. M. Night Shyamalan. I'll have to look into that.
Stop making life difficult for me, Jim.
Thank you for sharing that, Jim. I will Google that later on. Leslie says, ooh, covers. She likes them.
Bloodhound do great covers, I must admit.
They're fantastic. And I love the title of the one that was changed. I think that's so much more dramatic.
It's more genre specific than what I had before. Yeah.
And it jumps out as well. Josephine's joined us. Hi, Josephine. She's in the UK as well. She says,
hi, Josephine.
Hello to you both. Thank you for joining, darling. She's up late. As I said, she's in the UK too. Nancy says she loves the new cover.
Thank you, Nancy.
It is gorgeous. We've also got Shaz. She's in the UK as well. She says, hi from the UK. Keep up the good work with all your books.
Thank you.
She needs to read them. Shaz is actually an old school friend of mine. I'm not that
really? Okay.
Not that old. We've just been friends for like, oh my God. Must be about 35, 40 years. Oh my God, that makes me feel old.
It's scary, isn't it? Yeah, I know.
Oh my God. Bring back the 80s. That's all I can say.
That's what CP was for. Okay.
Right. Ding, 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 ding.
Okay. So what was the original question? Sorry, Leslie. What was the question?
It was, okay, if no critique partner has a clue, then I need to put one in. Now that makes sense.
Yes, probably. Yeah, because readers will, as happened to me, even though I thought I had put a couple of clues, and I had mentioned this guy a couple of times, but then I had readers saying, oh, he just came out of the woodwork and you never heard of him.
Yeah.
So, I mean, sometimes you just can't win. If you spell it out too much, people say, I knew from the very beginning who it was. And if you spell it out, they say, where'd she come from?
Yeah. The only thing you can do is invite them to read it again, and they'll pick up on the clues. Yeah. You can't do more than that.
Yeah. You can't make everybody happy all of the time. So
exactly. Okay. So
I just write my book.
Jim said.
Okay. Thanks, Jim. Right. You're a bit slow, Jim.
I never knew that.
Never did I.
That is good to know. And Shaz says, not that old yet. Oh my God, time goes so quick, doesn't it? Now, you've published with your book series and everything as well, because you've got two series on the go. You've published over 20 books, and that blows
15.
It blows my mind. It really does.
Does mine sometimes too.
Oh, my light's gone. I don't know how that happened. I've gone all dark all of a sudden.
I can still see you.
Hang on 1 second. Let me just try and figure this out. Oh my gosh. See, I was all set up. Look, it might, but we're in California. It might have been a little quake. You just feel them. Crazy. Now, I've always been an avid sci-fi fan, so I wasn't actually surprised when I ended up writing sci-fi novels. Now, were you always interested and intrigued in psychology and crime and mystery?
Crime, yeah. I mean, when I was young, my mother had all the Agatha Christie novels. I mean, we didn't have much money when we were kids, so literally you read whatever was in the house. So I went from the few tattered Enid Blyton books that were in the house to reading the tattered Agatha Christie books that were in the house. So that was my early adult reading, was crime novels. So I suppose when I started writing myself, it seemed a logical step. I have tried to write romance, but I just can't do it. I want to kill everybody off. It's something in me, I want to murder people all the time. So because both my series, the one I have published with Bloodhound and the one I've self-published, they're both crime series. So I've never written, although my crime series do have an element of romance in them. So
to make them obviously
my Irish one does. So
that's amazing. That's amazing. Now, the other thing I was going to ask you is where you get your inspiration from. Do you? I mean, obviously, especially at this day and age, with the internet and social media, anytime anything bad happens, we generally see it or hear it. It's everywhere. We're 2020, and we are so connected globally via the internet and everything. Do you find that when you see news stories of murders and this has happened and this is all corrupt and blah blah blah, when you see stuff like that, does your mind automatically think, oh, That'd be a good book.
Actually, it's funny enough, I do actually cut out bits, articles from newspapers and stuff saying that, oh, that sounds interesting. But I have a whole Polly pocket full of scraps of newspaper, and I've never actually gone back to look at any of them. I find inspiration comes in from very strange places. I mean, my inspiration, for instance, inspiration for The Perfect Life came from something so banal. I was walking. I walk quite a bit, not enough, but quite a bit. And near us, there's a lovely canal walk, so it's nice and flat. It's quiet. It's very pretty. And halfway along that walk that I do, there's a bench. And I passed it by several times, or over months, in fact. And one day, an idea came to me about, if a guy was sitting there and I was passing by and I fancied this guy. And that actually became the story. And that's triggered a whole story. That's part of the book. It ended up being slightly different because when I wrote the book first, the woman who, not me, obviously, but the woman in my character who was passing by this guy and fancies him, they end up having sex in the field beside it, but my publisher didn't like the sex bit. So it ends up being a meeting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, no sex in the book, sorry. So, but that's the whole idea spun on that one idea.
Isn't it?
So yeah, so ideas come in strange places. And in fact, my first published book, Secrets Between Us, I'm a terrible insomniac. I tend to wake up in the middle of the night and I start thinking about things. And I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about a story. And by the time I woke in the morning, I did go to sleep eventually, but when I got up in the morning, I had this idea for this story and I wrote that. So my ideas tend to come, and I think a lot of writers' ideas come from very strange, comments you hear, people you meet, they say something odd or not odd, as the case may be. And it triggers an idea, and then I tend to let these ideas simmer for a while. So they're kind of in my head and just kind of ticking around for a while, and then they develop.
Yeah.
Story. Or you literally just start writing and you hope they'll develop into a story. And so far I've been lucky. I've never had to abandon a book because I've started and think this ain't going anywhere. I'll chuck that. So it's always gone somewhere. So
it's amazing, isn't it?
I always kill somebody off anyway, so it's grand.
I don't know whether you saw on my post the other day, but I was sharing about our interview coming up, and I said you better all be really nice to her because she might put you in her next book and kill you off.
Yeah. It's great because you can do that. I have done that. Because I was going through a bad patch in work before I gave up nursing, and I haven't killed them off, but I've put a few characters based on people I knew then, and yeah.
You've done therapy. That's what you're trying to say.
Absolutely, it's very good for the soul.
It was very therapeutic. She's got a list just beside her. She's going tick. Yeah. Right, well, we've got some more comments, so I'm going to put these up. Shaz says she loves a romance. That's good to know, actually, Shaz, because I've just written a short story that I might have to send your way to see what you think. So that's good to know. Vanessa says, how do you know what type of characters to put in and try to keep the readers interested to read more? That's a good question. I'm just going to sip on my
very good question. Yeah. I think characters that people can relate to is very important. And same as dialogue. It's characters that you can relate to, dialogue that people actually use. I think that's important, and likable characters. Because I've seen criticisms of other writers where people don't like the book because they don't like the characters. And I have had criticisms of some of my books where people have, people have called the woman in Perfect Life a bit of a wet woman, no strength, no gumption. So you'll always get people who criticize, but I think you have to give people something they can they can connect to and or like in a certain way. So basically, they need to be real characters, not wooden, not unbelievable. The kind of people you'd be friends with or meet in the course of a day. So
yeah, I absolutely agree with that. And I think, you know, as writers, we can't always write about our main character being Mr. or Mrs. Dynamic, because they're not always.
No, exactly.
In real life, isn't it? You know, you find that when you've got, you know, people who do terrible, terrible things, 9 times out of 10 are the people that you least suspect would do something like that, because they are wet blankets. They are quiet, introverted, hide away in their own homes, miserable, planning their, you know, revenge on others that have wronged them or whatever. But they are generally the people that you least expect to do these things.
Exactly.
So, you know, and those are the people that generally don't have as many friends and stuff, because people are more wary of them, or, you know, they're not the life of the party, so they don't really take time to spend time with them. But as we said earlier, it's so tough, isn't it? Because you want to be realistic to real characteristics, but not everybody can be, you know, Bruce Willis.
No, exactly. Yeah.
It's one of those things.
It's funny. My first publisher, when I wrote The Housewife, I had written an ending, and my publisher didn't like it because I ended it happy ever after.
Right.
And my publisher, my editor in Bookouture, told me that, oh no, psychological thrillers can't end up happy ever after. So she insisted I change the ending. And I didn't like the new ending, which was she became even nastier, the main character, in the end. And I had finished it very nicely, where they all ended up happy ever after. Basically, all the different characters had a nice future. And I much prefer ending my books happy ever after, because it's the ending that I like. So I tend to now, Bloodhound are much more flexible with what I do with my books. So I do try to end my books with the characters, the main character being somewhat happy and a positive future. I think it's just nicer. I don't want to be miserable at the end of a book.
I'm with you on that, and I do the same thing myself, because I want my sweetheart. Can you grab that for me, please? Sorry. I want my readers to close a book and go, "Oh, that was great." With a smile.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I want people to have a good feeling at the end. You know,
Yeah.
and feel good enough that they want to tell other people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Definitely that.
Isn't it? Yeah, because the last thing you want is somebody going, "Oh my, I read this book and oh, the ending was awful."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Promote other people picking up your book, is it?
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I'm absolutely with you on that. Okay, we've also got some more comments. There we go. Jim says, you've written a number of books this year. Are you looking to write as many next year too?
Well, I have one coming out in February, and I have the 6th in my Irish series coming out in April. And then I have a contract to write 2 more psychological thrillers, one in July and one in October. So that's it, Jim. 4 next year. At least.
At least. She's a writing machine. Wow.
I because I tend to get, first of all, I write full time.
Yeah.
I don't have children. And they are the 2 big binds if you're trying to write quickly. So all I have to do is get up in the morning, and I try to treat it like a business, because that's what it is. This is my livelihood now, so I have to treat it like a business. So I tend to write from early in the morning until my husband comes home in the evening, and I have to feed him. So now, having said that, now I don't write solidly. I get up and I'm down and I faff around, and I try to cook, and I go shopping, and I try to garden. But I do, and I try, and what I do is I find helps me is as soon as I start writing a book, I keep account of my word count. So every day I do my word count. I try to write about 4,000 words a day. I don't always get there.
Yeah.
That's what I aim for. And then some days I do get there. So
yeah. I know exactly what I mean. I've got 4 children. I've got 2 of them left at home now. But I'm one of those, if I know something needs doing, I have to go and do it. So, I've got to put the laundry on. I've got to load the dishwasher. I've got to tidy this, and I've got to do that. I find it very hard to sit down and relax and get stuck in with my writing, because I know that there are other little jobs that haven't been done yet. So I don't suffer with insomnia like yourself. However, it's when everybody goes to bed and all the jobs are done, I finally feel that I can, okay, let's get stuck in. And my husband will say to me, what time did you get to bed last night? 2 in the morning.
Oh no, I'm an early. Because I don't sleep very well, and I tend to always be awake very early in the morning. I'm normally asleep at this stage. That's why I'm looking a bit tired. I'm normally asleep.
You look fabulous. Yeah. But it's one of those things, isn't it? I think everybody has their own different routines, and
I think it's important to get a routine. I think it's important to keep writing. I mean, I tend to write almost every day. Now, some days it may only be a couple of hundred words, but I do tend to write every day. Yeah. And sometimes I have to break the writing with editing, because when you're writing as often, you're ending up writing and editing and proofreading in a kind of a sequence. But I do tend to be doing something every day, and I do enjoy it. It's not. Sometimes it's a hardship when you have a deadline coming up and you think, I don't know what I'm doing, my story won't go, and I won't behave, and my characters won't do what they want me to do, and that can be a bit of a panic. Then I just email or I message my friend Jenny O'Brien, who also writes. We support one another, and it's great to have other writers who understand, as you know, Beth, because you're a writer as well. People who don't write don't understand. Sometimes what we go through when we want our characters to do something, they just won't do it.
Yeah.
Which can be.
I absolutely agree with you. I mean, the Writers Rock group has been fantastic for myself and for so many others, the same as the Tattered Book page as well.
Great.
Yeah, there are so many fantastic groups out there, and they're so helpful. And I think, trying to find, I don't mean a writing buddy as in somebody to write with, but a buddy who is also a writer who can help support you, keep you on an even keel, just give you some sound advice when you characters as you start talking to you and communicating. Having that level of understanding from a friend goes such a long way.
Sure.
Doesn't it? It really, really does. Yeah. It makes a massive difference. We've quickly got some more questions. There we go. Shaz says, I'd like some good stories come when you're asleep dreaming. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I get so much inspiration from normally when I'm just about to start nodding off.
Comes to you.
And I have to get my phone quick, and I'm like typing on my phone on my notes.
I have a notebook by my bed. Yeah.
Quickly record it verbally just so I don't forget, because I sleep like a log. If I wait until the morning, it's gone.
Yeah. Or when you're struggling with the sentence and you try to go to sleep and it comes to you, the perfect sentence, you have to get up and write it down straight away, because sure as eggs, you'll just forget. Exactly. And it's the perfect sentence, so you don't want to forget it. But quite often you do. You think, I'm never going to know that perfect sentence again.
I know, right? I tell you, having a notebook or your phone next to your bed, godsend when you're doing anything creative. Yeah. Absolutely. Shaz says, she says, oh, great, I'll read and give you my verdict. Thank you, Shaz. I'll send it over later. I've got to tell you, I have never written a love story in my life, Valerie, and I got asked to do one.
Oh, wow.
For an anthology. And like you, like you've had, you know, inspiration was gone. I was like, what the hell am I writing? I had no clue what I was going to do. And then I was in the shower washing my hair, and then all of a sudden it was like, ding, light bulb.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. It's great when that happens, though.
Oh, I was so relieved because it's my first anthology that I've done. My first story, and I was like, "Oh, you don't want to let other people down, do you?" When you're doing it,
sure, yeah. And I think writing short stories is a skill as well. I've never written a short story. I find it's very hard to condense into a short story. Yeah. So yeah, skill.
And because I'm used to writing action-packed sci-fi fantasy. I feel like something big should be happening, but it's a love story. So
it's a slower pace, a bit like a waltz rather than a tango. So
exactly. It's been a bit of a learning curve, so we'll see what happens and see what they say. Josephine says, with the question about characters, I think they develop to us. Develop as you're actually writing and interact within the story. Yes, ordinary and broken can work too.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's certainly the way we write when you're not planning in advance. It's kind of more dynamic, and you can kind of let them develop and kind of almost take charge, if that makes sense. And it's the way I write, and it doesn't suit everybody. And I do envy people who write, you know, they have bullet points for each of the chapters. Thinking, I certainly can't do that. I mean, I have written I have one self-published psychological thriller, Exit 5 from Charing Cross, and that inspiration came to me when I was sitting outside Exit 5 from Charing Cross in London. There's a cafe there, and I was waiting for Robert, and a man walked past, and by the time Robert arrived, because he's always late, I had come up with a story, but it ended up being the end of a book. So I wrote, when I got back home, I wrote that scene in my head, but then I had to backtrack the story. So I started that story from the last chapter. So books don't have to be linear either. You can write them backwards.
I'm like you. With book one, I just winged it completely. I mean, I didn't even really realize I was writing a book until I got sort of 3 chapters in, and I was just writing down a dream I had, and it just developed. The story kept coming along. With book 2, I tried to plan it, and it all went to shit. Didn't work.
Yeah. I've tried planning. It doesn't work.
No, it all it did was it just stopped my flow.
Yeah, I agree.
I got so frustrated because I'm looking at what I'd written down as what was going to happen, and my characters were going in a completely different direction. and then I was just getting so frustrated with myself, thinking, no, I wanted to do this, and my characters going, no, I don't want to do that.
I think if it works for you, that's the way to do it. You know, the problem is I found that Bookouture, when I was published with them, for your next book, they want a synopsis of the book before you write it. And it's if you're not a planner, it's very hard to do a synopsis of a book when you've absolutely no idea what's going to happen. And my current publisher, it's great. They want me to write the book and give it to them, which is brilliant. So I write the book and give it to them. That's grand. So it works for me. So
I think that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so Bernetta says, yes, I agree, Valerie. People can relate more to real life characters in books.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Jim says, short stories are a great way to experiment with new genres. That's what he's found. I agree. It's been quite a learning curve, I've got to tell you. Josephine says, yes, me too. Her characters run away with themselves sometimes.
You have to lasso them in.
She says, I don't plan as much, but I do use keywords, etc., and notes. That's a good idea. But I very often have at least one full scene or the end already in my head, and then I have to fill in the rest. I think most of us are. I think most of us are the same in that way. I think we always have one specific scene or something
somewhere.
Yeah, the rest of the story sort of falls around. Now, I want to ask you, because your books, they're all very different. The storylines are all very different. It just amazes me how your mind works, and how the plots unfold and everything else. But I've got to ask, what is the weirdest thing you've ever had to research or Google?
Oh, it's strange, because you can spend, yourself, you can spend hours on the internet, and thank God for the internet. I mean, we have it easy, really. We just have to Google something and it comes up. Mummification. I've had to look up mummification for a book I literally just finished this week. It's the 6th of my crime series. I had to look up how to mummify somebody, how long it takes, the process of doing so. It's very difficult to mummify heads, So
I never knew that. I don't want to be graphic.
I had my character chop the heads off instead.
Just to make it easier.
It's great. It's great because you can work your way around anything. I mean, it's great because it was so difficult to mummify heads. It's like, fine. So in the story, this is the part of the process, because it's difficult to mummify heads. The character chops their heads off and makes them into skulls.
That's probably actually less graphic and disgusting than what the Egyptians actually did.
Exactly. They used to take the brains out through the nose.
I know. And used to talk about a large hook, but they've since come up with a different idea of how they do it now. And I'm not gonna tell everybody, but
well, I'll tell you, one of the things I found out recently, again, it was actually doing research on the book that's out in February, The Little Lies, that one's called. I thought that if somebody was on the sex offenders register for life, that it meant for life. And it doesn't mean for life at all. It means for a minimum of 15 years.
No way.
Seriously. Yeah, that's what my character said. No way. No, after 15 years, you can apply to be removed from the sex offenders list. Now, I never knew that.
That is outrageous.
Now, you might necessarily, in fact, the character in the book doesn't get taken off it, but he does on his 3rd time for applying. But you can apply to be removed from it.
That is mental. I mean,
I think for life, it's for life. But it's a bit like if you go to prison for life, it doesn't mean for life. It means a period of time.
Yeah, but the thing is, you commit a crime, you can say, yeah, I made a mistake. But if you're that way inclined, that is the way you are.
15 years minimum.
There's no change in that. It's your sexual orientation. You can't change that. So why on earth would they say, oh, okay, time's passed, you're okay now? No.
You have to prove that you're no longer a danger. So, and my character does.
Wow. I'll tell you, I don't know about you, Valerie, but I have very strong feelings on that sort of shit.
I think life should mean life. Not case.
Yeah, exactly. Right, we're just going to quickly say hello to some more people before we finish, because, oh my God, can you believe we've nearly been chatting? Stephanie says, I'll remember that with regards to the tips and advice. Hi, T. T has joined us. She says, I'm here, my darling. Stephanie says, and I think they have to register themselves. So they're not registered, they have to register themselves, which I think is ridiculous. I honestly, but thank you for joining us, Stephanie. It has been an absolute joy to talk to you, Valerie.
I can't believe the hour is gone already. I was wondering if we'd find enough to talk about.
Well, I'm half Irish, as I know now, and you're Irish. We could chat all day, Valerie.
Yeah, we could. We could do it again. It's been fun. Thank you so much for having me, Beth. It's been really good. really enjoyed it.
It's been an absolute pleasure. And before we go, I want to wish everybody, including yourself, a fantastic new year, because this is the last Witty Writers show of 2020. And I've got to tell you, I cannot wait till 2021, and hopefully things will get better.
Yes, hopefully.
Now, everybody, don't forget, if you share Valerie's interview, you will be entered into a giveaway to win one of her ebooks. So get sharing. The more you share, the more entries you get. So we will pick out a winner at random for everybody who's shared, and then obviously Valerie will let you know if you've won and send an ebook to you. But I wish you all such a fantastic 2021. I honestly do think things are going to improve and get better. It's positive mental attitude and all that, Valerie. Don't
Absolutely.
you agree? I do. But thank you so much, darling. And I hope everybody will join us for the next Witty Writers show. Please get sharing Valerie's interview, and hopefully we'll see you soon, Valerie, when you release next year.
February. I know, it's coming very fast.
I know.
So much. I've really enjoyed myself. It's been great. Nice to everybody.
You're absolutely wonderful. Thank you, Valerie, and
Thanks, Darren.
to everybody. Bye.
Bye.